Hello, and welcome back to another development video. I'm here in the hub world, which actually has walls now outside of the buildings. This simple addition makes the world have a bit better depth now. When you first finished the tutorial, you have free reign to roam wherever you would like. And I wanted the players to understand that the hub world isn't going to be a place where there is direct plot development, but rather a sort of meta space. After thinking for a bit, I decided that, since in the tutorial you are told that you will be given a village full of host bodies to be able to defeat your body thief, that I should name this hub world the player's name and then village. My name's Dale, I named my character Dale, so the game says Dale's Village. So that way when the player goes to warp and they see their name and the village, and when they warp over there, they see all their unlocked hosts moving around, it'll help emphasize the idea that this village is that place that they were talking about, and not part of the four worlds, which is more directly linked to all the quests in the game. I wanted to give this idea without breaking immersion and calling this area Hub World. I have completed now everything to make the Hub World finished. There may need to be some more graphical things like adding rocks or flowers around, but regarding beta and devlogs, I would say it's done. In the Hub World, there are 3 warp portals, the starting location, a pub, which has a bell outside of it, and when you ring the bell, all the hosts you've unlocked that are not dead will teleport there, allowing you to quickly switch between all of your hosts. It's also kind of fun to see them all run and scatter to go back to where they're coded to go. The other area is a training hall that spawns in several training dummies, and it times how quickly you can destroy them. This training provides a sort of no-risk training to try and quickly switch hosts, to boost up your luck skill, or to spawn in other hosts to watch how they respond and react to enemies. This hub world is a fun place to see slowly fill out as you have more hosts doing things and interacting with the environment, which is fun. As I walk around, especially in a more finished area like this, one thing I always disliked was clicking on walls and watching the player kind of like pace around trying to reach the block space. It made the game look unpolished and the pathing buggy. However, I didn't want the movement block to just disappear if you placed it on a wall, because then if you just clicked a little bit too close to a wall, it wouldn't respond, and then that also kind of looked unpolished. Now, when you click to move onto an unpassable tile, the marker places it to the nearest open space in relation to the player. So you can see as I click on these walls here, the game says, okay, well you can't walk there. The movement block just kind of places it to a different open tile. And even if there's an open tile that might be closer to where you clicked, it's not closer in relation to where the player is positioned. I found this to be the most balanced and kind of organic looking way of moving. On the note of finishing things, I think it's time we talk about, for the last time, the pre-beta randomly generated forest. When I first talked about the randomly generated forest, I said something like, there are totems here that you can interact with, which marks that you've successfully cleared the area, and restart you in a new one. Right now they're in the open, but later I'll make them hidden in enemies or unbreakable objects. However, I didn't really do any of those things. I kind of just left it as it is because it wasn't on the top of my priority list. Before, when you interacted with any particular totem, it would send you to a room with the same parameters, placing in randomized objects at randomized locations. This system worked really well. However, there was still the problem of predictability. While the positions might have varied and exact objects might have been different, you knew what to expect. when you found the totem, you would wander and find the next totem, with the exception of boss totems. What I've added now is when you interact with the totem and go to a new RNG area, maybe there will be totems found outside in a larger area, like before, but maybe totems will be locked behind specific enemies in a smaller room, and those totems only become visible once you kill a specific enemy. Maybe there is a chest hidden somewhere containing some valuable items. You may also find little barrels and crates that, if you smash open, may have different items inside, but may also have totems that are hidden behind those crates. This little addition allows for more uncertainty when entering into randomly generated areas, making it just a bit more engaging and a lot more fun to play around with. I've also added a lot more unique objects into the forests, creating more diversity, like the shifting seasons having these small ponds with catnip around them, dead trees that you can knock over in the forest, these haunted trees in the undead woods that if you hit it, like a bunch of ghosts pop out and like do a bunch of damage to all the different enemies around there. Just makes it a bit more fun and more things to kind of click on as you explore around. One last thing that I don't believe I've ever touched on before is saving inside the forest. Now, imagine, like this save file is here, I only have one host left. Right? If I go to stats, alive hosts, 1. That host is almost dead. I go and save it here in the forest. Imagine loading, and every time I load it, I'm close enough to enemies that I just keep dying and dying. That wouldn't be good. To prevent this annoyance from occurring, when you save and exit inside the forest, then reload the game, you spawn back in the hub world. On the note of saving, I had it before so that when you saved, you'd save next to the nearest warp portal. I've realized recently that in the game, it was always faster for me to save and quit every time I need to get back to the warp portal. And I would do that. I'd play the game, I'd walk and do something, I'd save and quit, I'd load it back in. And, like, meta commentary aside, I shouldn't have to remove myself from the game to be, like, just a little bit faster. Also, if you're conducting a quest where you need to sneak in and steal something, it'd be easy to sneak in, steal it, save and quit. So, to prevent all this meta stuff going on with it, I changed it so now, when you save and quit, you spawn in right where you exited. Now, you might be thinking, didn't you just say that you changed the forest saving because you didn't want yourself to accidentally die? So, what happens if you save in one of the 4 worlds right next to a bunch of enemies? Well, don't worry, I got that sorted out too. So, I went over to the mountains here, I'm by these cyclopses, and I died. And I've got a game over here. I've added now the option to load your game, like usual, or load and spawn in the hub world. If you click to load and spawn the hub world, it just updates the room and then loads you in there. Why I did not do this for the forest is because the forest is randomly generated, so the odds of you spawning right next to enemies is a lot higher than intentionally saving next to enemies inside the 4 worlds. With all this said, hopefully I'll get to return back to the forest after beta, but for now, I think we have it all wrapped up. The forest and hub world are done, and we can turn our attentions to the 4 worlds. As always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.